I feel like well, now it started as a beta. And the last one is a week, and they said it's like it's basic funnels aren't. Like, like stressful moments. And I noticed, like, at night, she's not so yeah, one lighting. Yeah, yeah. One of the thoughts, yes. So eventually, I don't know what we're gonna do it because we tried to get it from somehow. Sitting like, I need help, like the fix them out, like, I don't know. But she needs help because it's like her, explain so yeah, my stepfather's like, really? No, I don't really. Well, they have because now, like, my stepfather just now, like, she gets trapped and my mom gets her attack. But I don't know if it exists. I know in 50 years I figured out, or I think, like, specifically for a sample conversation. But I don't know if they have, like, they can, like, you leave her there during the day and then you back her out. Yeah, father, some. Yeah. Yes. Well, they have to put like, alarm hours, so it doesn't mean to have that part in the middle of the night. Start walking. Scary. Yeah. And yeah, it's just crazy. Your motor skills change. Actually, like, she can't make a difference. Like, one is different from the other one. And it's hard because especially You want to pass it. It's on the pass. Oh, we call it, should not that. Where's your mother now? It's gonna quiet down. I do. Yeah, I'd like but I want to come back. My stepfather can't really stay there. It's hard to show. So the parents like you know, like it's gonna happen.
We're gonna get started. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Oh, all right. We have a lot of content to go over today. I want to make sure we have enough time. It's 10:37. Team meeting starts at 12. I have a feeling I'm going to go about 10 minutes over an hour. So we'll have about a 15-minute break or so for the team meeting. Here, echo. Your my brain.
Well, thanks for being here. I can't believe everybody got themselves out. Survived a 2-hour delay? I barely survived a 2-hour delay. I left my kids with kind of themselves for real.
Yo,
My kids, I go to school.
that's my spot.
Yeah, we got to go to school. Really? Canceled? Oh, Newburgh canceled. Too much snow in the city. They can't get the buses around. There's two seats there. Everybody has a seat. Okay.
All right, cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are able to do it here and those that are Zoom, thanks for tuning in. Today is going to be about AI. Specifically, we're going to talk about ChatGPT. And so by show of hands, who here uses ChatGPT? Pretty much everybody. How many of you use it on a daily basis by a show of hands? Just not everybody. So we're going to be talking specifically about ChatGPT. We're also going to talk about AI overall. We're going to talk about a few different tools that you can put in your toolbox. And I'm hoping that that you guys will have an action plan that you guys can take to actually leverage ChatGPT on a more personalized level. That's one of the things that I love about AI is that we're able to take this tool and personalize it to ourselves and our business. It's very unique. And so I want us to be able to be that with our agents. So I want to set the scene a little bit of what we're talking about today. So ChatGPT is an LLM, which I'll talk about in a moment. And ChatGPT is simply chat-based, right? I can have a conversation with it. It then gives a response. That is an LLM chat-based AI. The world in which we're moving towards is agentic AI. Does anybody here understand what agentic AI is? Max?
It's an agent. It's doing stuff for you. It's a little worker for you. It will actually complete tasks autonomously, manage itself. It's like a little VA.
Yeah, it literally is. We're entering a world where AI is not just going to be chat-based, where I prompt it and then it gives me a response. We're entering a world where it will think and do things based on what you give it, and actually take actions on your behalf. And so how many of you have actually played around yet with agentic AI, whether that's Perplexity or Zapier agents, Marie?
Well, house whisperer in a way.
Yes, yeah, talked about that. House Whisper is an agentic AI. So let me kind of talk about that for a moment. So we're going to get to agentic. So LLM, what it actually is a large language model. All right. And what it does is it understands your intent. It applies the context in which you give it, and it simply predicts the most useful output. That's all it is. It's not an actual brain. I know sometimes it feels like we're actually talking to someone on the other side that's an expert. It is simply predicting using equations and math what it thinks would be the best output based off the context in which you give it, right? So that's why we often sometimes see hallucinations and or outputs from ChatGPT that aren't 100% accurate, because it depends on the prompt, the context in which you give it, the role you tell it to be, so on and so forth. So we're going to talk about the art of prompting and how to leverage the LLM, because the LLM, ChatGPT specifically, is something that we all raise our hands, we're using on a daily basis, and I think will immediately impact what we're doing on a day-to-day. Now, agentic AI is more of like, this is where we're going, all right, where we're essentially, everybody in this room eventually is going to have an agentic, personalized AI VA assistant type thing, where it understands your business, it understands and connects to all of your tools, all right, it can take control of your browser and you can tell it whatever you want, and it will go off and do it in the digital world and then deliver results to you, right, which is pretty interesting and cool world, I think, that we're heading to. It's a little scary. Now, here are some tools that I would recommend having in your tool set. ChatGPT, you guys already have. All right, and this is where what I primarily use for ChatGPT is communication and strategic thinking. And I have found that each AI platform has a different use case. So ChatGPT I find best for communications, text, emails, strategically negotiating with a client, how to respond, scripts, maybe even SOPs. Claude I find to be best for spreadsheets, financials, and creating structured workflows. So they're both around the same price. ChatGPT is $20 a month. Claude is $17 a month. I recommend, if you have the budget to be able to do so, and you are looking to go all in on AI, explore Claude. Most of you already have ChatGPT Pro. If you don't have Pro, I do recommend using Pro, because if you are able to expand the amount you're able to use on a daily basis, they limit it if you don't have a Pro plan. And then House Whisperer, right, which Marie mentioned is an agentic AI. That's already just included because you're a part of SRE. And so you guys already all have access to that. And if you don't, Max can help show you how to make sure you have that set up. And then there's Zapier, which Zapier actually has a free plan, 100 tasks a month. So it's an easy one to add to your tool belt. That would require a whole other training. We're going to talk a little bit about it today. But I wanted you guys to just simplify your tool stack when it comes to AI, because there's so many platforms out there. There are literally hundreds of thousands of different AI platforms, and it's easy to get lost in just having fun and the novelty of it, or trying to explore things without it actually being productive. And so that's why we want to apply first principle thinking, which is just, what's the fundamental problem I'm looking to solve? And can AI at this point in time even solve it? Right? And if anything, could it give me inspiration to solve the problem we're looking to solve? All right. So in my opinion, the starting place with ChatGPT, so we're going to dive into ChatGPT fundamentals, is cloning yourself. Okay. Not actually, but you want to personalize your ChatGPT. So for those that actually have their computer open, pull up their ChatGPT. I actually want this to be a little interactive. And I want you to go to your settings on the bottom left. And you'll see that there's a personalization option. And when you click on personalization, you're going to have the ability to change your name, your title, who you are or an about me section. And then you're also going to have, I forget exactly the header prompt, but something along the lines of customize. Exactly. There you go. So bottom left, if you open ChatGPT, you go to bottom left, there's your settings.
Oh, I have it.
Your icon?
App.
Oh, yeah, the app is a little different.
Yeah, I
but-
got it.
Yep,
It's up
there
at
you
the
go.
top.
Yeah. You got it? Cool. Everyone got it?
No.
Yep, there you go, Lillian. Personalization.
And I know how to furnace first.
Cool.
Right at the top, it's
So I want to make sure everybody knows where this lives. Yep. Bottom left. Yeah, click on your name and then personalization.
Here. Absolutely.
Yep. Bottom, yep. And then personalization. Yep. Yes,
Yeah.
perfect. Perfect. Cool. So this is where you're able to amplify your ChatGPT. Does anyone have their personalization settings set? Okay. You said yes? Love it. I'll tell you right now, if you're getting like meh prompts back from ChatGPT and like you're having to do a lot of editing, it's likely because you haven't set up personalization. So personalization, I think I actually have on the next slide. Yep, this is my personalization in ChatGPT. You're welcome to take a photo of this. I actually have also a prompt that I'll send you guys. It's also on the following screen where you can actually, I created a prompt that you can put into ChatGPT and it will use your historic input into ChatGPT to then create the prompt for personalizing your ChatGPT. All right, so after you guys take a photo of this, I'll share it back with you. But the reason why I showed this on the screen with all of these words is to show you the extent of the context I'm feeding ChatGPT and the role I'm asking it to be, right? So I'm not telling it saying, hey, I love to run for long distances and I'm the COO of a real estate team, right? I am saying respond as an executive partner and COO, not a general assistant. Be direct, structured, and decisive. Prioritize clarity, execution, and real-world application. Format all responses so they copy and paste cleanly into Google Docs. Avoid formatting that does not translate well when pasted. Optimize responses for fast scanning and implementation. Proactively identify missing systems, risks, dependencies, KPIs, ownership gaps, or automation opportunities when necessary. When information is missing, flag assumptions or ask targeted clarifying questions. When relevant, ask to include templates, checklists, SOPs, steps, scripts, agendas, and suggested automations for Zapier or native when triggers are required. Avoid vague language, filler, unnecessary theory, assume a high level of competence, and move quickly to substance. Do not use M dashes.
I was gonna say, it better be in
Right?
there.
If you want to remove M dashes, you just simply tell it, don't use M dashes. If you don't want bold, just tell it.
I can't put bold. Literally, if you want to be, like, I really believe people are being desensitized to AI, and when I see M dashes in bold, I just stop looking.
I gotta say, I love M dashes and I love bold, but an M dash is just a long extended line. Yeah. Yeah. Bold emphasizes though. I think bold emphasizes. I do use bold, but I did that for you. Okay. What's an M dash? Honestly, I didn't know until Lindsay either.
Plus programming.
Yeah.
They something like writing email, they always bold letters and put these long dashes in, like, it just does it. I don't know.
It's just the way
It's proper language.
It is,
But the problem
yeah.
is it's now become so AI driven that
you
people
just know
see it.
immediately that
They
it's
didn't write
yeah.
it.
You know, it's
That wasn't
who
written.
is behind the curtain.
Yeah. Like, we didn't write that.
So guys, you can see, pulling us back in here. All right, that's my custom instructions. I literally copied and pasted that. You can see that would probably create a better structured response back than if it wasn't in there at all, right? And that's not even including the about me section, which I'll spare you guys from me reading. But you guys have that. You guys are welcome to take that. You guys can also, if you want to scan this on your phone, this is actually a custom instruction prompt. So you can copy and paste the prompt that's in this slide deck. And then it will in your ChatGPT basically go into your historical data and tell you what it knows about you, which is very interesting. But we'll also structure it in a way where it will be best suited for custom instructions and about you, similar to mine.
As part of this presentation, talk anything about like privacy or not allowing info out in it's like what's going on in chat now and it's sharing back.
Yeah, I have a very, what's the word? Dark. I don't think privacy is real, if I'm going to be honest with you. In the digital age with AI, I think it's actually a skeptical, not a skeptical, like a wall of, facade. I think that, yeah, all of the terms.
Talking about really how they're using your information and who it's being sent to. So I was curious about.
Yeah.
I don't really have, it's like I'm not putting anything in there that's questionable that I'm worried about.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do too. I agree with you. It's like it's a big question. Privacy is a huge question in the AI world, because when we get to agentic AI, which is happening, I can literally show you a demo right now with Claude Cowork or Cursor. These are other platforms where it can take control of my browser. It can go into follow-up boss. It can determine my top 10 to call, and then it can deliver it to me, and then I just call those people, right? And you can then eventually, like you can link workflows where it then will just actually go to an agentic AI voice, and that voice will actually call and start the call, and then if they answer, transfer to you. Like that's the world of automation and AI agency that we're getting to. And I know that sounds a little complex, but when it comes to privacy, that to tie us in, when that AI agent has access to your browser, it does get very risky of the what else does it have access to? If you store passwords right on your computer and things like that, I know I do. It gets risky if the access that it has to those sorts of things, because it does take screenshots of certain things to show you proof that it's only doing that. But again, what do we only see what they tell us in some respect. So, all right, moving on from this though. Yeah, so that prompt can kind of give you some context as far as the custom instructions and about you can give. You should absolutely audit it though. It's like a starting for inspiration, not necessarily the final product, okay? You can also use mine for inspiration as well if you'd like. Another thing in ChatGPT, now that we have all our computers open, when you're on the left-hand side, all right, do any of you use projects? Like on the left-hand side, you have start a new chat, you have projects and GPTs, you have just your chat log, which if you don't use projects, probably looks like you have a million different chat logs or conversations and messages, right? Kind of looks a little bit like this on the screen, right? So projects are on the left-hand side. If you have some, they'll show up like folders. If you don't have any, a button to create new projects will live there. Now, I highly recommend creating projects. Projects start to actually consolidate your chats into a folder, and then you can actually customize the AI within that project. And then you can also have it feed off of certain files, PDFs. The business plan Excel file I shared with you guys, you can export that, upload it into a business strategy folder, and then that chat specifically will reference that every single time it takes into a response into consideration. So essentially what projects do is allow you to customize the AI further and reference documents, all right, rather than just the real world, all right?
So a person like us, like a
Yep.
agent will use that.
So I actually put on the screen here, anticipating that question. You have two options for the standard folder process. If you have multiple businesses, right, you might have one folder per business, right? Because otherwise your folders will just get scattered across. And that was just from my own experience. So I have like one folder per business. If you just have your real estate business, I recommend diversifying your folders by operation or business area. So daily agent ops is one, lead conversion and scale skills, or just lead conversion and sales, marketing and personal brand, or just marketing and brand, right? market knowledge and strategy, business growth and planning, and templates and SOPs. So you'd have 6 folders essentially in those different key business areas. All right. And then I actually don't know if I have it. Let me see. I don't. Wish I did. Yeah. So let me explain. Sorry, let me take a step back. So when you just reference a chat, if I started a new chat right now and I don't upload any context, okay, what it's going to do is just reference the real world, the digital world, right? It's going to go out there. It's going to try to provide an output based off the context I provided in that prompt that I gave it, which it could pull from a million different things, billions, trillions of different pieces of information then, right? So what a project does is it narrows the scope of information that it references. It will still reference the real world, but it's going to reference the context or the files that you feed it first. So you start to then really be able to personalize the responses in which you're getting back. So that's where I think projects excel the most. They recently added a feature where you can actually also customize the chat. Let me actually see. I'm going to actually back out and show this in real time so you guys can have a visual. Do I have one? Okay. So this is literally my ChatGPT. I have Curio Studio here. This is a folder. I actually have it shared with Savannah. So this is what's cool about folders too. You can share them across with people. So I have this shared with her. You can see on the top right where there's the share button, you can do that. And then there's also 3 dots. The 3 dots is where I can access project settings. One of the new features they recently introduced was instructions. So what I did was I actually created a custom prompt. So anything that I do within this folder references this instruction. All right, so that's one thing. You can see how long it is, right? Then I uploaded files. So that way it always references these as well. Our about, where we find our inspiration, our story, our ethos, our business plan, our branding guide, our industry and news, branding inspiration, client profiles, brand and identity, and messaging, right? So we created all of these resources, uploaded it to it. So now anytime I ask for marketing content, right, it's going to sound like us, right? And so it speeds up the process from idea to output, rather than me going to just a chat and then I have to revise it 10 times to make it what I want. Does that make sense? So that's where projects I find really excel. Cool. All right. I did also create a GPT where you can also scan that and you can put that into your chat, and based off of your historical conversations, it will also provide input on what folders you should potentially have. I actually used this as my own exercise, and I thought it was actually pretty on par based off how I use ChatGPT, which I thought was interesting. You guys are also going to get this slide deck at the end. Sorry, I should have said that. All right, cool. Talking more about ChatGPT. ChatGPT also recently released thinking mode. Okay. So again, if your output ever feels like, this was a pretty quick response and wasn't really thorough enough, it might be because you are just on regular ChatGPT 5.2, which is the latest version. When you're in a chat looking like this screen here, on the top left screen, you have ChatGPT 5.2. It's a drop down. You can actually click that and go to old models, or you can also change between auto, which is the default, instant, which is the quickest response, or thinking, which is the most thorough response. And so thinking is best when you're strategizing your business, right? Things like that, where you actually want it to really think about the response it's going to deliver to you, right? Or you're planning content or processes and SOPs or workflows or how-tos, anything for your business in that kind of way. Thinking mode is going to kind of take it to the extra mile. How many of you knew there was connected apps? You might have known about the Zillow one, right? That was a big thing in the news, how Zillow connected to ChatGPT. And so now people can actually browse listings just conversing with ChatGPT. They could be in ChatGPT and they can say, I'm looking for a home in this area. and then ChatGPT will start to suggest Zillow listings if they're at that point in time. Very interesting, and I think it's going to continue to evolve. But there's other apps in here as well, such as like Canva or Google Calendar or Google Drive or Gmail, where you can actually connect these things and integrate them. And then chat can actually reference things in your Google Drive, on your calendar, or in your Gmail. I haven't found an incredibly great use case for this yet. I don't use it all that much, but more so wanted it just on your radar if you wanted to explore. This is also a new feature for optimizing your workflow with ChatGPT. Oftentimes, I am reusing chats, right? I'm not starting all of these new chats. I'm coming to the ones that I created, and then I'm working within those chats to continue to build things that are in alignment with whatever that chat is. But sometimes I want to branch off that conversation and not disrupt the workflow I have in that chat. So they introduced a new feature called Branch, where you can actually branch in the chat. I have it kind of highlighted here, but essentially it's an option when you're in the conversation at the bottom of everything. You can share that response. You can click the 3 dots for more options, and that's where you can then branch in new chat. And what it would do is actually just create a new chat from there for you to continue the conversation without disrupting the original. Again, because when we're creating chats, which we'll talk about in a second, might be even the next one. Yeah, it is. When we're creating chats, we're creating roles, we're creating personas, right? We're creating objectives, we're feeding it a lot of information. And so that chat that we're creating is pretty much becoming our niche assistant in whatever that niche is, right? So if I'm trying to work on creating, actually, someone said it over there, right? Replying to emails and communicating via email or text, right? I wouldn't create a new chat every single time I needed input on how to respond to a client. I would come back to the same chat every single time because I fed it all of the information that I want, and now it's learned how I like to speak, right? And so that's why it's so important to branch conversations so you don't disrupt, right? All right, so the art of prompting, okay? One of the reasons also why maybe ChatGPT isn't working like your personal assistant is because we're giving it too vague of an initial input, right? We might just be saying like, give me an email reply to this, and then we're just screenshotting something and uploading it. And so it's just going to give you an email reply to that. It's not going to have any context on how you speak, any objection handlers that you want referenced, things like that, right? So you want to give it a role and persona to start, right? Just like yourself, like you want a very specific role, all right? Who am I supposed to act as, right? So maybe it's as a communication expert with 10 years experience in the real estate industry, right? Role, persona, perceived. It will then consume that role and reference people that are in that field. The task and objective. What is the task and objective? What are you looking to have completed? And then constraints and context, criteria, format, style, and tone. Now, there are bonus additions, so you can have references and iterate. So let me explain this. Let me see the best way to explain this for you guys. So constraints and context, I would say, is best used when you are let me see if I can actually give you more an example of this. Okay, here's one. So tactic number 1, the comms coach. This is actually really relevant based on what you were talking about. So the prompt is, right, you are my real estate communications director and conversion coach. Role, right? When I upload a screenshot or paste a message thread, generate the best communication plan. You write calm, human, professional messages that get replies and move conversations toward an appointment or next step. Then I would also have, there just isn't enough there, always reference the NEPQ and exactly what to say PDFs attached. Then I would upload those 2 PDFs right there into that chat. And then I would say success criteria, responses feels human, fits the tone of the thread, and reduces back and forth. Then, all right, I will get a very thorough, detailed response or a specific one based on whatever that thread is that I'm uploading. So this is one that I would use for communications. Another one I would use is the listing strategy memo. So you're my pricing analyst and listing strategist. I will upload screenshots of the MLS comp sheets, recommend a defensible list, price range, and strategy. The deliverable, right, should be copy, paste ready and on one page with the seller's goal snapshot and 3 bullets, the pricing strategy with 3 options, including momentum, aggressive, market or balanced, and aspirational, right? So it will then use that context. That's actually not even the full prompt. So I included the full prompt there, but it goes in further. So essentially it has the criteria, it has the format, it has the style and the tone, right? And then I mentioned there the bonus was references. If you had references of 1-page style guides that you liked, upload those because it will reference those and then format the output based off the references you've provided. So essentially when you're starting a chat, what I'm getting to is you want to give it as much context as possible and build it in the beginning. So that way you can just come back to it over and over again. It's going to speed up your workflows like that. Another one as your marketing and branch director as well. And this is actually like where you can build your very own GPT. The prompt library, you guys will get that as well. And I just wanted to kind of talk about this for a moment. We're going to have some fun in a second. So custom GPTs. So we're shifting from chat to GPT. Does anybody understand GPT? I feel like Max, you might raise your hand.
Can I just pulse check the room?
Please, yeah.
People off. Be honest.
I'm sorry if yeah.
Yeah, because.
I figure I'm gonna get the slides.
Okay, yeah. And at the very basic level, do you understand the prompt? What a prompt is? Yes, everybody does. Okay, just want to make sure.
No, I know. I'm like.
And you have a short amount of time, but I think it's digestible if you can go back and reference it. I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure everybody like understood what prompting was and all of the.
Yeah, prompting is the most important part of anything that we talk about today, because if you don't prompt properly, your output will always be incorrect. So prompting is important and giving it context and being thorough. I think Nick, you saw me prompting the other day and you were like, you're still prompting. Like it was a long prompt and I gave it intense context, but it gave me exactly the output that I wanted, rather than, yeah.
So like, and I find that the more you give it, like what you're saying, but like in layman's, like dumb people terms, it's like, I just talk to it like,
Yeah.
I needed to include all of this information with no punctuation, no nothing. I need it to sound like me. I need it to be clear. This is my major point. Draft this email. And then I don't just send it. I change the email to sound like me even more.
Yes. Always iterate, always adjust, never just copy paste 100%. And I recommend just speaking to it. It doesn't have to be a very structured thing every single time. You can literally pick it up and speak to it now. They have the voice to text feature. Is that what you're about to say?
I was gonna say that, but I was also gonna say, if you have specific points that you want it to remember, you can say, save this, or don't, like, remember this point. So it will say memory updated, basically. So as you're prompting it and teaching it about yourself and how you want it to respond, how you like things, just tell them to make sure you save this memory. Save this point or update, and it will just constantly reiterate and go back to that.
How do you make it now, like, okay, I'm writing a second email, go back to the point, to my tone, how do you use?
No, that's where coming back to either one of two things, to the same chat that you started with, because then it's going to reference any documents you've uploaded, any past conversations, but most importantly, any revisions you've made to fine tune it over time, it now will output that one single thing.
I mean, if you want to say, respond to, this email as like a 5th grader would respond to an email, or what Steve Jobs would respond to, right? So whatever context you want it to act like, you update that memory in terms of like how you want it to respond specifically on that case scenario, or if you have specific chat or whatever, it will update that memory for you. But to that point, you have to go back to the initial one to iterate on those specific points.
Yeah, you have 3 layers. You have the settings personalization, which is where you can set tone and direction and role and so on and so forth, as you saw. Then you have the folder, right, where you can upload files where it'll reference that specifically and reference the chats within that folder. And then you have the chat itself, right? Is more like you're just getting more and more narrow as you go further along, if that makes sense. So if I use ChatGPT to write emails all the time, right? And so like I would reference that email chain or chat chain that I'm using to write emails. But it'll be depending on the role I'm asking for it to be. Not to get too complex, but if I'm asking it to write an email specifically regarding like real estate coaching stuff, right? I'm going to go to that real estate comms coach, right? Not just to an overall email one. So you can get, again, really specific based off role and objective. If I'm trying to respond to a negotiation with a client about my commission percentage, right, via email, which isn't how I would want to handle that. But just as an example, right, I'm negotiating via email. I would want a negotiation expert, right? Not an SOP expert, right? So that's why it gets specific to the chat, if that's helpful. All right, I want to actually do something which is going to kind of break this up, which I think is nice. So GPTs are also kind of new-ish, where a GPT is similar to like a chat, but it stays the same every single time. So you can come back to it. It doesn't change. You feed it input originally, and that's the input for it. And so what I did for us actually is I created a 24/7 role play partner. Ooh, so exciting, right? It's actually really cool, and you guys will get access to this, and we're gonna actually demo it right now. And so I'm gonna want someone in the audience to demo this. Essentially, right? Essentially, I've trained this GPT. It's an AI that you can actually speak to and role play with in real time. All right. You can say, run a role play and give it a scenario. And then it will respond like it's a real client. And when you're done, you can say end role play. It will score you from a scale of 1 to 100, give you real-time feedback, and then also give you suggestions on how you can improve. So who wants to demo this in real time? Christian, let's go. All right. Okay. So do you have a role play scenario in mind? You can go. Oh, yeah. You can also tell it if you want it to be a beginner mode. I gave it levels. So it could be beginner mode, it could be advanced mode, intermediate, right? So we could start on beginner. You can also give it specific frameworks. If you're like, hey, I'm trying to work on my LP Mama script when a Zillow lead or ALM script when a Zillow lead comes in, it will reference the ALM script, right? So do you have a scenario in mind?
Calling expired.
Okay, calling expired for the first, like, yeah. Okay. Hello, I'd like to role play calling expireds on beginner mode. You want to hold it?
Scenario title, expired listing re-engagement call. Scenario context, you're calling a homeowner whose listing just expired after months on the market, and they're likely feeling frustrated. Ideal outcome, the goal is to rebuild rapport, uncover their motivation, and schedule a brief in-person meeting to present a fresh plan. Hi, I saw your home came off the market recently, and I'm wondering, are you still hoping to get it sold?
That's your first sentence, actually. Sorry, I think it messed up a little bit. No, you are not the agent. I am the agent. You are the client.
Got it. I'll be fully in character as the homeowner. Let's dive back in. Go ahead. Room to my first.
Oh, it's
When you're ready.
insane.
Crazy.
Hey, John, Christian with Stevens Real Estate. How are you doing today?
Honestly, a bit frustrated. We had it listed for months and it didn't sell. I'm not sure what else can be done differently.
Sure. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, and I totally understand your pain. My team and I, we specialize in getting homes that didn't sell and unfortunately expired back onto the market, refreshed and fully resurfaced. Listen, I only have 2 minutes before my next meeting, but can you clarify 2 things for me really quickly?
All right, I can give you that. What do you need to know exactly?
Yeah, perfect. First, I was curious what your plans were, after your home sold.
Well, we were planning to move closer to my daughter's family out of state. That's still the goal, if it's even possible at this point.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, I certainly think that's possible. If I could show you a strategic plan that would market your home effectively, Not only that, but also get you the number that you all are looking for. Would you be willing to meet either next Wednesday evening or Friday morning? I can do Friday 6 a.m., Wednesday 5 p.m. Did I say that?
Either. They hung up.
Sorry.
And role play.
Oops.
Yeah, no, I think it picked up on the, it does have to be quiet. That was good.
Even showing up to scripts.
All right, give me the evaluation from that call.
Scenario expired listing re-engagement call. Difficulty
From the last call we just had, give me the evaluation.
Scenario expired listing re-engagement call. Difficulty beginner. Score 80-100, pass. Top strength. You establish rapport quickly by acknowledging their frustration and focusing on their goal. Main focus area. Clarify your value proposition a bit more before jumping to the close. Quick fix suggestion before offering times. Briefly explain one key difference in your approach to build curiosity and buy-in.
Cool. So there it is. Yeah, love it. So yeah, you guys will have access to that. You guys can play around with it a little bit. It'll continue to evolve and get better too over time. It's just an easy, quick way, especially also low friction. You no longer necessarily need to meet up with someone to role play with them. And you can do it like in the car between appointments before you actually walk into the appointment, just to be like fresh and fine-tuned. So that's just a fun little way to do that.
Awesome, Zach.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So let me see for time's sake. One sec. Let me reorient ourselves in here, guys. Okay. So that's kind of ChatGPT. Before we move on to some of the new strategies and consumer behavior and what's kind of changing, personalizing your ChatGPT, right, from a settings overview, building out folders, right, and uploading relevant documentation you want it to reference, and then prompting, getting comfortable with prompting and giving it more context and uploading files. And if you want a negotiation expert, well, you should upload, right, all of your scripts that are relating to how they handle objections. It's now going to be able to reference those. So understanding that framework and building that out, that's the takeaway from that kind of first section there. Okay. Now, what I kind of wanted to talk about is the trend that's happening between search. I already kind of mentioned agentic, so we'll breeze through there, and then production. And I have a couple examples I want to show you there. And then I'm going to give you guys a bunch of different tools too, if you want to play around with. So for search, I mentioned this before, people are going directly into ChatGPT and getting a direct response rather than going to Google and having to click on links and research on their own, right? They can go right to ChatGPT, they can ask what it's looking for, they can say, no, I'm actually looking for this in this area, and continue to iterate until they get the result that they're looking for, right? And so what's happening is that people aren't at the top of the funnel anymore and reaching out. We're nurturing them. They're being nurtured by ChatGPT. And then when they're ready, they're going to get referenced, right? Who to reach out to directly in ChatGPT. That's what's happening. That's the trend and where we're going. Okay. It's not exactly happening at high scale yet, but it's where we're going as a trend. Okay. So how can we set ourselves up for success here? Any of the content in which we're creating, we need to actually answer the questions that our clients are looking for. All right. And so, for instance, right, don't write or create posts about home buying tips, right? And I know many of us don't necessarily do that. Some of us may, but those social media posts, those blog posts, anything you're putting out there digitally, right, with your name on it, you want it to actually answer the question that they have. The question they would have is how to buy a duplex in 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, right, with an FHA loan, right? That's a prompt they're putting into ChatGPT. And if you have content that's relevant to that question, then your profiles are going to then populate as this starts to grow. All right. So when you're thinking about your marketing strategy, that's what we're getting to. I want you guys thinking about the questions that they have and that consumer, what question are they going to be asking ChatGPT, right? And then create content around that, right? Social media is a big one. Instagram is a big one now that it connects to Google, especially. Twitter's a big one that pulls into these chats too. So just food for thought. We talked about agentic, right? Where old automation was kind of one step to the next step, but we're getting to a place where agentic automation is happening, where you will have an AI agent that will reference everything that you give it, and then we'll be able to actually execute multiple tasks across multiple platforms at once. And that's kind of where you can see House Whisperer coming in. Zapier is really taking the lead in this as well. All right, I wanted to show you this too. I thought this was cool. This is again kind of trend. So this is the third trend, which is production. A big thing that's happening right now in the AI world is voice and video production. And some of you may have seen AI videos already. Have any of you seen, let me ask, have you guys seen the AI videos that have been created? All right. This is actually a real estate specific one. Let's see, can I click on it? No, I think I have it right here. This is like just a use case. This is kind of one of the things that I thought was kind of neat. So AutoReel is a platform. It's an AI platform where you can upload still images, and then it will actually create not a slideshow, like an interactive video that you would almost have to shoot and hire a videographer for. It's going to get significantly better as the trend, but essentially, if you have a low budget and you want to create an interactive reel, right, and you want to sync it to an audio, well, you can upload those still images, and AutoReel actually syncs to Zillow and the MLS. So you can just also take the Zillow link, and then you can just paste it right into AutoReel, and then it'll output a video, download it, upload it to Instagram. Instagram, just like TikTok now, has an auto edit feature where it will edit the video based off of the audio. And so each kind of moment where it changes angle, it will change angle based off the beats of the song. So it's a little trendy. So it's just a quick way to like create content, right? So this is like production example of using still images and creating video content, for instance.
I'm a doer, and is there any way that you can do like a session where you just take one thing that you have shown and just do it with us?
Yep. This is like a big overview of all the things. Virtual staging is another one as well, right? So if you have vacant properties, you're trying to share a visualization of how the property could look. Virtual staging is become very popular in the AI world for real estate. Virtual staging AI has been the best one that I have found. Now you can use ChatGPT for this. Its image model has gotten very good. I still have found it to not be the same as using like a platform like this, and a lot of them are very, very low cost. And then I thought this was very interesting. So I more so just wanted to show you guys this. Oh, is it not going? All right, it's not working. This is also where and how good AI, this is current. You guys can sign up for Higgsfield today and essentially shoot a video, upload it, and change avatars. And it's getting real good on the way it actually looks. It's almost indistinguishable. This is called Higgsfield. This is an AI platform. It's pretty much the leader in AI video creation. I've actually seen accounts on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube completely AI. It's an AI avatar the entire time. And in some cases, a lot of it's hard to tell, unless you're really looking for it. In my opinion, we're going to see a lot of that getting created. And so, back at vision casting, when I was saying, I think a lot of people are going to need interpretation or an understanding of what's real and what's not real. Like we're kind of heading into that kind of world, unfortunately.
I feel like I know when it's AI, but then there's some where like, Mom, that's AI, and I didn't know.
Yeah, it's getting really good. Again, these are the trends. You should be using somebody else. Like,
Yeah. Everyone's putting on.
I feel like I've made some phone calls thinking that I'm talking to the agent and it's not the agent.
Yeah.
It's AI.
It's their AI assistant.
Then I'm like talking like very vividly and it's just AI.
Yeah. I think one of two things are going to happen. I mean, I think we as a collective are going to decide that's not the direction we want to go, hopefully, and we all kind of revolt and we don't go that direction, or it completely gets adopted in the new generation and it does start to evolve and it's just integrated into our day-to-day. And I think that the social media platforms, especially right now, are working, I think, at least they've expressed hard on trying to at least give disclosure of what's real and what's not real, but it's very hard to do at scale. So there's going to be a time frame during this kind of integration where, yeah, it's going to be hard to know what's real and what's not real. I primarily showed that video more so to show how real it's getting and how good it's getting. And that's just today. Like a year ago, if you did a side-by-side of like an avatar created via AI and that video, you could totally tell like, yeah, that one's AI, you know? So it's growing rapidly is the point of that video. There's a lot of different platforms. You guys will get the slide deck. The rest of this, just take a look at it. These are different video-based, image-based, text-based, and audio or voice-based AI platforms. I give the use case for each of them. You guys are welcome to play around or just take a look at them. Again, I think some of these are really interesting. Specifically, I'll just point out a couple that I think are applicable to you guys. So for video-based, I think CapCut or Captions. Some of you may already use this for video editing, but both are integrating AI heavily where you can actually chat to edit, just like you would to ChatGPT. It will edit the video based off how you chat with it. Sometimes it's a little finicky, but it's getting there. Opus Clip is really great as well. Opus Clip is a long form to short form video editor. And it uses AI, so you can upload podcasts, you can upload any long form YouTube video, and it will clip it up into a short reel, and then you can edit it from there, which is really cool. Mentioned Higgsville. HeyGen is an avatar video creating platform. Mentioned virtual staging AI. ChatGPT we know, and just, yeah. And then I'll leave you guys with this one here. Notebook LM. I think I shared this with Christian. Most of these slides were actually created using AI. Almost all of them, actually. So Notebook LM is an AI learning center based off from Google. So we all have a Google subscription. You all have access to Notebook LM. This is a new thing Google just released. So it's where you can actually upload any form of resource, PDFs, YouTube videos, podcasts, things like that. And you can upload as many references as you want. And then it will actually deliver you an audio overview if you want, a video overview, a report, a mind map, flashcards, quiz, infographics, a slide deck, or data table. But what I found also cool with it is you can chat directly with it and ask it questions and get like the cliff notes from a podcast or cliff notes of a YouTube video. So if you missed a training from so-and-so and you wanted to just get the cliff notes of it, you can just upload it to Notebook LM and say, what are the most important 3 things that I needed from this training? And, or whatever, you know, and then it will give you those in your cliff notes version. So I find that pretty cool where you can almost, you know, work with the resource itself. And then I mentioned GPTs. So there was the GPTs that we just used with Christian, which is the role play GPT. I also created 2 GPTs. One's an SOP builder, which you can actually just add right into your chat. So if you are struggling creating SOPs and you just want a quick little reference, hey, I have this idea, this is the workflow, this is the context, it will then deliver it to you in an SOP format. And then prompt engineer. So I might have briefly mentioned meta prompting. Meta prompting is using AI to create prompts for itself. And so I created a GPT that you can basically just brain dump any of your thoughts into this GPT and it will deliver you a formatted prompt based off the AI platform that you're using. And then you would copy that and paste that into a chat. And then that chat becomes whatever that role is, your marketing director, your social media manager, your VA executive assistant, right? Your data analyst, your CMA creator, so on and so forth. anything you can think of, you can essentially create a chat for, and that chat then becomes that role or assistant in your business. So that's the idea there. And then last but not least, I thought this is the last thing, guys. There's an AI for that. So if you are interested in subscribing, getting inputted information on things that are relevant to AI, you can subscribe to this platform called There's an AI for that. You could choose how frequent you want your emails to come through, but they give me some really relevant updates on what's going on with AI. And you can even give it a niche. So you can say real estate, and it will give you any AIs that are being created relevant to real estate, for instance. So I have that. And this is just also here, which will be in the slide deck, a tool ranking. So you can also see the different AI platforms and where they are rated. And you can always click on them and learn a little bit more about them there too. So it's just a quick way to get access to all of the AI platforms that are out there in one platform. All right. I will leave you guys on that. Thank you, guys.